He used a dating app to lure women. Not for love. For death. 5 matches. 5 murders. I'm Santa, and tonight I'll walk you step by step through how a polite smile and a clean profile turned trust into a hunting ground, how the city panicked, how police chased shadows, and how one careless slip finally brought him down. He called himself Evan. Age listed, 32. Profile photos, a plain shirt, coffee cup in hand, a tidy apartment background, a daylight street shot. Safe. Ordinary. His opening messages were short, respectful, and a little slow on purpose. He waited hours before replying so he wouldn't look desperate. He suggested early dinners, not late drinks. He never asked to pick anyone up. He met them at places with visible cameras. He understood how people feel safe. He used that. Lauren matched with him first. 29. Nurse. New to the city, working nights. He wrote about a quiet restaurant near a hospital. He paid before she arrived. He kept the conversation light. No probing. No pressure. At her car, he offered a sealed bottle of sparkling water and said it was a new brand he liked. She thanked him and drove away. The next day, she missed her shift. Her phone went dark somewhere between the restaurant and home. Her car was found 2 neighborhoods away. No signs of a fight. No obvious struggle. Just absence. 2 weeks later, Mia, 24, a graduate student, told her roommate she finally met someone normal. They had coffee at a bookstore cafe. He bought it. They walked out. He handed her a sealed bottle near the curb. She didn't come home. Her phone stopped pinging by midnight. 3 days later, a maintenance worker found her near an access road outside the city. No dramatic wounds. The coroner saw low levels of sedatives and called the cause of death undetermined. Detective Carver didn't like the words undetermined. He worked long enough to know accidents don't stack neatly like this. Healthy women, similar age range, last seen with a new date, same part of town. He pulled text logs. The last messages to both victims were to a prepaid number tied to a fresh email used for one thing, the app. No billing name, no home address, no linked device with a real account. Thin. But thin is still something. Evan kept the pattern tight. He picked targets with posts about starting over, being new, eating alone. He chose places where a single server covered a big section and where cameras showed entrances, but not the far corners of the lot. He steered goodbyes to his car door, not theirs. He timed his exits for gaps in foot traffic. He knew exactly where cameras missed. The third victim was Naomi, 31, graphic designer. She'd moved to the city 3 months earlier and used the app to meet people. She messaged with Evan for 3 days, met him for tea, and went home. 20 minutes later, her building's camera caught her leaving again alone. She didn't come back. 2 days later, her car turned up near a trailhead. Doors locked. Purse inside. That day, her friends started posting her photo everywhere. The first local segment ran that night. 2 missing women, now a third. Are the cases connected? Fear spread quickly. Women posted lists of safe places and then crossed them out as whispers grew. The app pushed a safety banner. Meet in public, tell a friend, report suspicious profiles. A press conference followed, tight-lipped statements, nothing substantial. Reporters asked if a serial predator was using the app. The spokesperson avoided the word serial and said every lead was being pursued. The answers satisfied no one. Every police car driving past a cafe felt like a warning. Every polite man at a table made people look twice. Carver built a map. He marked last known locations, recovery sites, cell tower pings, camera angles, and the timeline of each date. He requested rental car data by pattern, not payment. Short nighttime bookings, clean returns, no toll records, repeated neighborhoods. 3 reservations matched. Kiosk cameras showed a man with a cap and mask. Normal for a city. But the same man, different times, adjusted his shoulders the same way when stepping through a door. In 2 frames, a faint scar ran along the left index finger from knuckle to nail. You don't arrest a scar, but you don't forget it either. A patrol almost got him one night. They watched a cafe where they expected him to show. A man with a cap and mask met a woman who fit his pattern, new to the city, cautious, profile photo with a dog. He stood to leave after 15 minutes, gestured toward the door, and walked her out. The tail car looped late, blocked by a delivery truck. By the time they came around, the pair had turned a corner. A squad tried to slide in from the opposite end of the block, but a minor traffic crash choked the street. When officers reached the lot, all they saw were 2 wet patches where a car had just left. The woman's roommate called an hour later. She was home and safe. The man had said he forgot the drink at his car, but she declined and left. The detectives had been inches from him and got nothing. Media pressure intensified. Commentators argued about the app. Users posted screenshots of red flags. The app suspended dozens of accounts that fit broad device patterns, which drew backlash from people who said they were wrongly flagged. A mother of one victim spoke on local TV in tears. A council member demanded the company do more and called for a citywide awareness campaign. The city flashed safety banners on public screens for a week. Nightlife businesses complained that customers were afraid to meet. A podcast released a rushed episode, The Gentle Date. The nickname stuck and beat the police to the narrative. Evan adapted. He sped up courtship. He shortened dates. He used different jackets, different hair length, the same calm eyes behind the mask. He bought new prepaid phones, rotated device signatures with browser tweaks, switched to smaller rental counters with older cameras. He never hit the same place twice in a row. He never moved off the app. Rebuilding trust somewhere else takes time, and time creates noise. He wanted quiet, frictionless kills. The fourth recovery, Rachel, came after heavy rain. A dog found her partially buried under loosened soil. The pathologist found the same chemical echo as the others, low-level sedatives, a blend of household solvents on clothing fibers, no single dramatic wound. The press called police clueless. Carver kept his team away from TV. He focused on the black box that held everything the city needed to know Evan's small kit that nobody had seen up close. The break came because nobody is perfect. After a midtown date, a patrol car turned down the street with siren and lights for an unrelated call. Evan flinched. The pouch slipped from his hand and skittered toward a curb. He walked on. 30 minutes later, a street cleaner nudged it into the gutter. A dog walker found it and posted a photo. Anyone know what this is? Smells weird. A nurse in the neighborhood group recognized the scent mixture. Looks like cloth plus dropper plus household solvent, she wrote. Someone sent the post to a detective they knew. The kit moved from a sidewalk to a lab tray before sunrise. Tests confirmed what Carver suspected, traces of a sedative agent, amplified by an antihistamine, and solvent residue consistent with a common cleaner. The hinge carried a partial print, too small to tie to a person, too distinct to ignore. The team went back to the rental kiosks with a new filter, look for the scar, the shoulder adjustment, and the habit of touching the left pocket before turning. Patterns of the human body, not the card. They baited him with decoy profiles, photos licensed for law enforcement stings, bios designed to attract his specific script. One decoy listed, moved here last month, cautious, early dinners only. He messaged. His handle was different. The photo set was edited. The cadence was the same. He suggested a corner cafe with outside cameras and a front window view. He liked to see the door. He liked exits. They wired the cafe. Undercover officers sat at 2 tables. A surveillance van idled down the block. The decoy wore a clasp camera and a tiny mic. She wasn't there for a date. She was there to clip his script. He arrived 15 minutes early and took the corner seat with a view. He ordered tea and barely touched it. He complimented her caution. He kept the chat normal, about jobs and neighborhoods, then asked the question he always asked. I've got a new drink in my car. We could step out for 5 minutes and try it. She smiled and said she'd rather stay inside because of the weather. He didn't press. He ended the date politely and walked out alone. Carver held the team. No rush. They needed him on something concrete. Officers followed him to a rental parked 1 block over. The hazard lights blinked once and stopped. He opened the trunk. The pouch was in his hand. The camera on a long lens caught the same scuffs and same model hinge as the lab sample. Still thin. They wanted a warrant that wouldn't crumble. They tracked his route. He took turns that avoided license plate readers, knew which intersections had new cameras, which had old ones, which were permanently dark. He chose a street with a broken lamp and a blind corner. They saw why women never screamed on video. He didn't let them get that far. The next day, under the media's glare, the department held another press conference. They didn't reveal the kit, the scar, or the car pattern. They asked the public to report anyone offering sealed drinks outside of bars or restaurants. The app pushed a system-wide alert. Some users called it fear-mongering. Others called it too late. Tips flooded in, most useless, some toxic, a few plausible. Noise is a predator's cover. Carver's analysts sifted it for threads that matched their board. Evan messaged the decoy again under a new handle with a new photo set. The app's logs connected both accounts through a subtle device fingerprint, browser font lists, and graphics card quirks. The company's security liaison forwarded the match. Behind the scenes, a storm 2 nights earlier had knocked out Wi-Fi near a coffee shop Evan usually used. For a brief window, his device reached the app through a residential router registered to an apartment where the leaseholder traveled most of the year. That connection lasted less than a minute. It was enough for a judge. They watched the building. Evan came and went with neutral jackets, a cap, a mask, and a routine. Left hand in the pocket, pouch in the right. Glance over the shoulder at every threshold. He bought gloves and sealed drinks at different shops, paying cash. He wiped door handles in a way that would have looked careful even before the pandemic. One night, he set the pouch on the hood while he answered a call, then moved it to the trunk. The long lens caught the hinge and scratches again. Carver signed the operation order at 2:47 a.m. Entry was clean. No warning, no crash through TV noise. They hit the lock, turned the handle, and filled the space with voices and guns. Evan lifted his hands. He didn't run. He didn't argue. He didn't ask why. He just stopped. Inside, they found prepaid phones, SIM cards, fake IDs, a laptop with a privacy shutter and heavy disk cleaning, neatly folded cloths that smelled like a grocery store's cleaning aisle, sealed bottles similar to those friends of victims described, and a printed map with circles that mirrored the board at the station. He said 3 words during the interview: "I want counsel." After that, nothing. Silence doesn't erase objects. Labs matched traces from his pouch to traces on the first kit. Analysts matched his rental pattern to the last pings from victims' phones. A neighbor recalled him hosing down a car at 1 a.m. 2 weeks earlier. The car was gone. The hose memory was not. 2 days later, a hiker and his dog found Naomi's grave along a wildlife trail just beyond the edge of cell service. The coroner confirmed the same sedative signature and the same lack of extreme trauma. The consistent pattern mattered more than a single dramatic blow. The charges landed: multiple counts of murder, kidnapping, and related offenses. The media side exploded. Live trucks lined the block. Commentators who had called the police clueless switched to "the city can breathe again." The app ran a prominent safety banner and announced new verification steps. Family statements poured in grief, relief, anger. People argued about whether the company did enough. People argued about whether the police moved fast enough. People argued because arguments feel like control. The prosecutor didn't argue. She laid out a sequence the jury could walk, 1 foot in front of the other. App account creation, device fingerprint link, message logs, surveillance clips, rental patterns, chemical traces, dump sites, the pouch, the decoy clip with his own words about 5 minutes by my car. The defense said coincidence, contamination, overreach by tech companies, entrapment by decoys. The judge allowed the decoy evidence. The officers never pushed him outside or forced any admission beyond his established script. The scar on his index finger, visible in kiosk footage and convenience store cameras, didn't convict him alone, but it anchored the man on the screen to the man in the chair. The verdict came fast: guilty on multiple counts of murder and kidnapping. The sentence: life without parole. He left the courtroom as quietly as he'd walked women to the curb. This is where I stop. I'm Santa. If you don't want to miss the next case, subscribe to the channel and hit like. And tell me in the comments, if you were in Carver's place, what would you have done earlier to close the net faster?